other things on his mind. Before we could even get to the shop, he grabbed my hand and pulled me close to him. I could feel his heavy breath right on my face. Deep down, I was trembling, but I made sure not to show the fear on my face. I heard him say, "I love you. And though you say you don't want me, you have been teasing me." He was tall, and the strong grip of his palm on my waist made me feel like a prisoner. A chill ran down my spine, an electric zap of sorts. I knew I was not safe. My body sensed danger. Indeed, I tried fighting and pushing him away from me. I failed, and the next thing I knew, I was on the floor, and my head hit the ground. Boom!
Thank you, Arnold. Read. Continue reading. Give her the mic now.
Nadia, today you are done, I said to myself. The next thing I knew, he was on top of me and pinned me down so tight. At the very moment, it felt as though my bones were cracking. My soul had left my body and I was numb. I couldn't speak, couldn't see, and my mouth was dry and lips chapped. I tried fighting, but my body was giving up. The more I fought, the more he hurt me. My screams were futile because he covered my mouth. All that was going through my mind was, "Dear God, whatever he's about to do to me, I pray he has a condom." Because I knew I was done. I couldn't save myself and nobody could hear me. I kept praying in my mind, hoping a miracle would sweep me out, of this real life nightmare. Tears violently flowing down my cheeks. Still, he was ready to hurt me physically. The friend I once knew had turned into an animal because all he could say was, "I love you and I know you love me too. Just let this be, accept me." You see, when you're being attacked, your body isn't your own anymore. Despite putting up a great fight, it collapses, not because it wants to, but because of the trauma it is going through. You are scared it's happening, confused, and you just pray for a miracle. God transmitted my silent screams to one of my other friends. As I lay on the ground, bruised and still fighting for my sanity and innocence, my friend popped up. My friend pulled the abuser away from me, and I just ran straight into the car. Well, I still ask myself where I got the strength to get up and run that fast. Mentally, I was drained, I was terrified, I was shocked. Physically, I was bruised on my hands, my stomach, and by the grace of God, I wasn't sexually defiled. Today is the first time I'm speaking about this incident. I never uttered a word about it to anyone. Only those with me knew what had happened, and nobody dared to bring it up again. Quite frankly, till today, I wonder why no one spoke to me about it. Why didn't anyone ask me if I was okay or not? Why did I not seek help? Maybe I was embarrassed. Maybe I feared the stigma that would come around me. Or maybe I was just angry and disappointed with myself. I mean, how could I be so blind not to see what the friend's intention was? But you see, I was wrong. After having experienced something as traumatic as that, the last thing I was supposed to do was blame myself or others for what they never did. But at the moment in time, I just needed someone to comfort me and make me feel safe again.
Thank you.
From that,
Thank you. Give her. Now continue. We're going to finish this chapter, and there's a reason why.
From that day to the following days, weeks, and months, I experienced post-traumatic stress disorder. Today, I know better, and I know that that was what I was going through. At that time, I didn't know I just named them nightmares each time I saw a frame similar to his. I will hide or try to act okay, but deep down, I was terrified and beyond shocked. It messed me up. I had a very negative attitude towards men. I never valued them or looked at them with any form of respect or kindness. My bitterness, anger, and fear overpowered me so much, and I was in a dark place. But guess what? All I had was myself. I literally could not even open up to the one person who was my ultimate best friend, my mother. I couldn't face her and tell her what had happened to me. In fact, that was when I didn't have any emotions towards her, because subconsciously I thought I were to share my emotional side with her. She would have figured out what happened, so I perfected the art of being strong firstborn without sharing hugs with her or even telling her I loved her. I went stone cold, and this affected me generally. I became a sweet young lady who had a hard time showing my emotional side. I was safeguarding it so much because I just had a fear of being seen vulnerable again and taken advantage of. Being close to my mother, I wasn't able to disclose such an event to her. So many things were running through my mind. I didn't know how I would tell her. I was uncertain of how she would react and how everything would transpire from there. So I had to do something that will keep me sane and content, and that is how I came up with the two strong passions: inspirational speaking and lifestyle blogging. This was my way of healing and building my self-esteem up to have a better mental perception of how life will go from there. Unfortunately, due to fear of being judged and segregated, many people opt to die inside in silence, not telling their story and healing. Abuse is abuse, no matter the type of or form of abuse. We need to start speaking out about our experiences to help others speak up and seek help. My own experience took years for me to share. Still, I believe I had to, for my own sake, and for people to see that abuse doesn't have a face. Anyone can go through it. It is up to us to make it safe for others to speak out and help through the process. Nobody foresees their abuser. Nobody wishes to be abused. Nobody even plans to be in the same room with abusers. So why do we judge, build stigma, and overlook when such incidents occur? We need to create safe spaces for our sisters, our children, and ourselves to speak about this this rot in our society. We need to encourage each other to open up. If we continue sweeping everything under the rug, we will be grooming a generation of broken, scared young people who are unwilling to be vulnerable or feel a sense of belonging in our society.
Y'all can clap for them. Oops. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, wow, okay. So who can summarize or tell me what they got out of all that? And why do they think it's important for us to speak about abuse? I mean, I would ask how many of you have been abused or experienced it, but I know not many people are comfortable to say it. But I know people, and I can say that 3/4 of the people that I know have experienced it. And as much as I didn't go into detail about it, because I felt like, you know, when you're starting a car, you can't just upeleke it. You have to prepare people. But the reason why I wrote about this and I speak about it is because a lot of people in our country, a lot of women, are really suffering, and men also. When you're talking about guys being sodomized, girls being raped, a lot is happening. And most of the time it happens to people, it happens to us by people who we know, familiar faces. I have friends who've been abused by their uncles, their brothers, their aunties. And then what happens? The family tells them, keep quiet because you're going to spoil someone's marriage. I mean, I think that's BS. Because you're here trying to save someone's marriage, yet your child is suffering. I remember when I was doing community work in Mombasa, I used to go to Coast General. They have a GBV area. And the amount of children or girls who are being raped, or wives, married couples, they're people, they're women who don't know that their husbands are raping them. And they're still okay. And there was one sad story. I remember I was there, and the mother came in with the child, and her daughter was raped by her uncle. And the first thing this mother asked, has he broken her virginity? Yet this girl was actually raped from the back, and she was torn. But the mother was so focused on, what, is she a virgin? Because if she's not mtoto wangu, she can't get married. I mean, these are the type of things that our generation is going through. And then we ask ourselves, why is it that we are such a hurt generation? Why is it that we don't have emotions? Why is it that relationships don't work? People are just come, we stay, or, tap and go. It's because people are running away from trauma. People have traumatic experiences. I mean, these days, I think if you want to start dating, please, first, I have an application asking this man, have you literally gone through all your traumas? Have you seen a therapist? Or have you been abused before? Because I know guys who've opened up to me about it. And the guys have been abused, yet they cannot talk about it because they're told, acha umama. And what I find funny is that weakness is seen as umama, yet a woman carries a child for 9 months and has to give birth to her. Or we go through periods and they don't know that we go through. Yet, if a man shows weakness, and ambio acha umama. And then there are women who actually contribute. I have so many women who, some of them, when I talk about it, I get DMs or calls and I'm told, what are you trying to show our children? You're spoiling our girls. You'll go to hell. Might as well walk in hell if I'm about to speak about abuse. Like I'll walk in hell comfortably. Because how is that bad? And university, these things happen in universities a lot. And we don't talk about it. I mean, femicide and all these things, they happen, but we don't talk about it. Why? Because we're scared. So I think I need us to start normalizing some conversations. But then it also starts with, how do you perceive yourself? Have you worked on yourself enough to withstand someone else's judgment? You know? I mean, it's a lot. And don't get me wrong, even my friends can tell you, I was always a dreamer, but I was never this confident. Where I am today, it takes a lot. It doesn't just happen in 1 week. It takes a lot. But what we need to do is stop sweeping things under the rug and pretending that these things don't happen, because Kenya is a place where people pretend a lot. Even friendships. I'm pretty sure most of your friends, you don't like them. Unajifanya tu. Pretty sure some of you are dating people who you can't even stand. But because you're so scared of being single, you're still putting up with a man or a woman that you don't like. I'm pretty sure. Oh, I'm pretty sure you can't even tell if it's your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your husband. I don't like the way you're kissing me. But you can't tell them, you know? Sorry, I'm being a bit blunt, but it's true. We need to start speaking. Career-wise, if you love something and you're passionate about something, don't let anyone talk you out of it. Do it. You know? And so just because I wrote this chapter, I hope you don't see me as, the Greenwich of Christmas, but you see me as, maybe, I don't know. Let me look for a comic, what is it called? Yani, you see me as someone who's given you some courage to start speaking. And I'm not telling you, yani musimame, yani mbele za watu muongee. What I'm saying is, just accept what has happened to you, whether it has, or if you have a friend who's still going through the same thing. There are a lot of suicide cases happening in Kenya. Why do you think that is so? It's because none of us are talking about it. I mean, some of us, if you are a believer, whether a Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, whatever it is, you tell your family you have mental health issues at all, just pray to God. Yes, God will help. That's true. But then after that, you also have to help yourself. Or some people, ukiambiwa tu kidogo na issues ya mental health, ambiwa umerogwa. There's some witchcraft somewhere. Kweli, kurogwa equals to, yeah, it's there. But honestly, there are people who have serious issues. We need to start normalizing mental health. I mean, I went through a lot up until today. I think I have some sort of traumas and some stuff. But we need to start talking, whether it's with your friends, and you also need to know which type of friends you talk to. Because there's some friends who are like a parapanda. You tell them something today. I'm pretty sure those people, if they even had the chance, they would post it on Facebook and say, that is the one. She did that. Or making fun of people, We've become such a heartless society. And we are happy people in Kenya. We smile to people's misfortune and complain even when you're told to register as a voter and you don't register and you don't vote, but you are upset because your government is not doing this. I always tell people, you know me, by there, I'm half here, but half I'm also working. I tell people, If you have a problem with what is happening in your family or in the government, I ask you two questions. In your family, do you speak up? Ikiwa kitu inakuudhi, do you speak up? If you don't, then the problem is you. And in your country, if you don't like how systems are working, let me ask you one question. Have you registered as a voter? And have you ever voted? And if you've never voted in this country, please shut your mouth. If you have voted and you have registered, you have the right. Come up and let me just ask, how many people are registered voters? I just want to know. I'm so proud of you guys. So you're voting 2022. You're voting. I don't want to know who you're voting for. It's none of my business. There's someone here who would want to know who you're voting for. But I'm glad. Hapa wengi amuja register kwa voters. So in your favor. Sawa sawa. Now let me have the last three. Do you see why I have my job or I'm working where I'm working? Nimewaletea vitu soft, alafu naingizia mambo ya siasa kidogo. Can I have three other people, please? Yes, 1, 2, and 3. Oh, sorry. Oh, there are 4. Okay, once one. No, okay, let's go to page 64. We'll start with you, yeah? Yeah. Page 64. So you read up until here. Okay, acquire. All right, you can go ahead.
Do you think I was always empowered? Do you think I have never made foolish mistakes? Do you think society paved the way for me to be who I am today? Well, if you think so, let me bust your bubble. I was not always empowered. As a matter of fact, I was the troubled child, the one who did things against the norm. I was the one who tried so hard to fit in, knowing I was disliked. Today, I am who I am because I listened to the loud voice inside my head. As much as I had the ambition and dreamed to be Oprah Winfrey or Kofi Annan, I thought of it outside my comfort and place. As much as I liked current affairs and communication strategies, I was more into driving a big car with a red number plate, owning a diplomatic passport, or conquering all the networks and just being known as an African lady who dared. I knew I wanted to bring change or create change. However, I never thought of it in the context of empowering those around me in the process. I instantly visualized having my own so that nobody would ever have the power to utter these words to me. It is because of me you are here. Which may seem like a selfish trait, but again, it depends on one's perception. As it is always said, change is good, so relax. Don't panic, don't be too hard on yourself. Embrace each day as it comes. Life is never black and white. It comes in rainbow colors, one more colorful than the other. Just remember always to keep affirming yourself that mistakes happen and it's all right. Confusion happens and it's all right. Failure happens and it's all right. Being empowered does not happen in a fortnight. You learn how to be empowered by empowering yourself through mistakes and deeds, all right? Still in our moment, just take your mind for a drive and ask yourself, what makes you, you? Is it your clothes, your complexion, your surroundings, your people, your values? Who? If you can answer this, you have achieved the first step of being empowered, self-identity, the most powerful tool any human can ever acquire.
Let's go to page 80.
Friendship retrospection. Let's just say if someone in my life today were to tell me about how friendships can be dragging, hurtful, and very confusing when I was young, that I needed not to worry about how big my circle was, rather how I would have argued with them or even laughed in their face. And honestly, now that I'm older, way more experienced and settled, I truly understand why I was the way I was when I was younger. Let me paint the picture for you. And frankly, I'm not proud of it, but it is part of me, and I have grown out of that and into reality. I was the type who believed I needed to have lots of friends to be liked, accepted, and matter in the social sphere, that I was the type who wasted so much of my time having my life to be accepted by friends. Also, I could be in what I thought were cool cliques of movers and shakers. I was also the type who would trust friends easily and open up about everything because I believed that being an open book was the way to win hearts and be liked. This sense of being liked is what makes me cringe each time I think about it. I know what many teenagers or even young adults break their backs just because they don't know better of childhood trauma that left them a need and hunger to be liked and accepted because the void was never fixed. I have learned now that some traits are a reflection of what our parents didn't see. And because we never experienced them in our homes, they ended up being projected into our friendships. But because we never knew better or cared, we just went on with life. And at some point, life taught us what we needed to know, and the rest is history. When I think about it now, my dented friendship reflected the childhood traumas that I never knew I had. I always wanted to make friends with popular kids in school, be around kids that had the best in their school. I had this obsession with being a drama queen. Hence, if I look at my childhood now, many of my friends were a bit dramatic, or I had habits that triggered the drama. Not that I wasn't given the best things in life by my mom, but it was just that I was so used to getting everything and being the only child and center of attention. It really reflected on my habits and behavior. This is why it is important to pay attention to your children, their mental health, and why they act the way they do.
Page 76. I said that, right? Okay, sorry.
Dear youth, you may be wondering why I'm
Wait,
writing.
1 minute. Sorry. So page 76, this is actually a letter I wrote to the youths of Kenya and Africa. It's a letter that I'm going to print out. I'll try to see if I can also print it out in newspaper. But it's a letter that I wrote. I feel that I needed to share some of my reflections and experiences from it. So you can read it.
Dear youth, you may be wondering why I am writing a letter to you within my book. Well, I believe doing things differently. After all, we are youth, right? We are dynamic, creative, determined, and always looking at how we will discover the next best thing to solve a difficult situation or spark innovation. My love letter from me to you. A love letter expressing avenues for us to build, grow, and improve on our well-being. I know it has been hard for a very long time. I know you haven't felt like you belong, whether at home or in the country or within circle of your friends. And guess what? It is very okay to feel that way. I feel it too sometimes. Well, many times. Feeling that sense of belonging and ownership takes time. Sometimes it takes longer than we all expect it all take. But hey, it is life. You just take it away and hope it shall get you to a destination where you can stand on your own and say, yes, I do feel like I belong. Why am I saying all this? Dear youth, well, because of that place, I feel like I didn't call it my destination. Still, it is definitely a starting point to something bigger than myself. So big that I knew I couldn't stay with that knowledge of and experience it all by myself. And that is why, for me, being a CAS 85, a state officer, and a police servant is where I have learned a lot, and truth to be told, still learning as I kept moving forward. And it is the basic reason I started the Kenyan Mimi initiative, to help other Kenyan youth to feel the same thing and discover the same thing I discovered as I still occupy my position. If we don't believe in taking responsibility and ownership of ourselves as Kenyans, accessing information about the government program that are tailored towards the youth, and if we shall not insist on representation, even if it is the bare minimum in our community, then we shall lose the true essence of the Kenyan Mimi spirit. So, my love letter is just to acknowledge as a young person, but to think individually. As a Kenyan, what truly is my responsibility? Rather, we are accustomed to thinking as coming from so and so region, what is my responsibility? And that right there is what cripples us. My fellow youth, we are disadvantaged because we cannot think as singular feet. Rather, we think as collective. Even when we acknowledge it will lead us to a dead end. And the results truly won't be as pleasant as you would imagine.
Thank you, ladies. Please clap for them. Thank you. And so those are a few chapters that I thought we would read. If we could all turn to page 90. So page 90 all the way to page 93, these are questions that I took from Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll realize I usually have a Q&A question. And sometimes people are obsessed with some questions and some are not. So there are a few questions here which I feel like, I don't know if I should read them. I don't think I should. I mean, you all have them. I should give the answers. As it's my tab. Actual answers. Okay, since I didn't get it, okay. So the first question that is commonly asked, which I really don't understand why, there is an obsession with people in Kenya, with women who are in powerful positions and knowing their status. I'm not sure how that's going to help people though. It doesn't, because it doesn't help, because ever since, it does, you'll tell me why, but ever since I got appointed in 2020, the bloody question has been, are you single? Are you married? Are you dating? And I'm like, how is this a reflection of what I'm going to, my work? As far as I know, when I go to work, it's Nadia, right? And so when I was discussing with my publisher, she's like, this is one of the questions that you should pick. And so the first question is, are you married, dating, or single? And my answer is, it depends on who is asking. But then if you must know, and this is something that I answer, I said, if you must know, I am the youngest CAS in His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta's cabinet. I mean, the last, if I'm not wrong, but the last person who was in a position like mine at the age of 29 was the late Tomboya in Kenya. Yeah. So, whether I will be back in government or not, this is something that I have achieved for myself. And I think it will go in history. And my children and my children's children, as well. So I think you guys have gotten my answer. A woman never tells. But I'm not married. Maybe soon, but I'm not married. So what is the most challenging thing about being a young female Swahili Muslim CAS in Kenya? I think the most challenging thing just about being in my position is the stereotypes. There's so many stereotypes about me. And when we started the job, I have my team here, but when I started the job, people would sometimes assume that if we go to meetings, maybe I came there, maybe I'm writing, maybe I'm a secretary, or maybe a CEO, or maybe something, yani kitu kidogo, And a lot of times you'll get people saying mrembo, sasa. I hate that word. I hate it. I know meaning mrembo, that's fine. But when you're in a boardroom, in a serious setup, I don't understand why we have the need to really bring down a woman to either her sexual value or just her value as a whole. And so it's very challenging because when I walk out there, I have to work 10 times as hard. You know? One, because due to the historical aspect in our country, it seems like a lot of women from the coast are not educated. It seems. And a lot of women from the coast, or any marginalized community for that matter. Hi. Any marginalized community for that matter. It seems that as long as you don't come from specific places, in Kenya, if you have studied and you're very articulate, yani wewe you're a god with a small g. And so a lot of times, even my PAs usually are like, who trains Madame Cass? Or how come she speaks good English? Well, shit, man. It's Kenya. What language are we being taught in school? English. So these are the stereotypes that I go through. And then, sometimes also the stereotype of me being a Muslim and limitations. Sometimes people are very scared of being very direct with me because of the cultural, aspect. But I always tell people, as long as you're in an office setup, as long as you've been appointed, you just have to work. You are Nadia and you are working. And I tell people, as long as the highest appointing authority in this country has employed me, I don't need to explain to anyone what I can do and what I can bring to the table. If you want to find out, Google search me. You'll find something. I'm still working on my Wikipedia page though. I still haven't gotten there. But yeah, so these are the stereotypes. And then being a woman in general. As you all know, in Kenya, historically, women have come from so far. Politically, scientifically, emotionally, mentally, whatever it is. Whether it's in your field as STEM, or in arts or in politics, women have come from so far. And so we still have to go on and we still have to make do. But the stereotypes, they're what that really, really is a challenge for me. And then there was a question that I was asked, why mental health advocacy? Do you have issues yourself? Nawazimu mimi. Why mental health advocacy? It's because let me tell you the secret to success. And it's something that Honorable Mayaka taught me. The secret to success is identifying your niche. Identify your niche. What exactly are you strong at? And what exactly are you passionate at? And then work on it. As much as I went through PTSD, as much as I have some anxiety, I identified mental health as a niche that nobody had tapped into very well. And so I worked on it. I read the policies. I was on Miss President. I took advantage and used that and built on it. And today, I still speak about it and I'm in government, So my niche helped me to be who I am today. My niche helped me get identified. So ask yourself, do you have a niche? I'm a uko tu. Uko tu. Because beauty fades. We are all beautiful and handsome. But that fades. Your niche is, what is your strongest point? Like every time I go to University of Nairobi, I know Rahma, she is strong when it comes to engineering. I know that. I know Ayan in Strathmore, she's done, and now, by the way, congratulations. She works with Safaricom. I know for her, tech is everything. I know Hindu. She's a lawyer. Hey, human rights, my friend. Don't mess with her. I know Raisa. Anything to do with media, graphic design. It's the reason I'm mentioning these people. It's because I work with them and they're my friends as well. So, it's like that. I know Aisha. If you guys don't know Aisha, she comes from Isiolo, but she's the strongest FGM, anti-FGM champion. I mean, she got a ring with Kenya ni mimi. I really believe in her. Please clap for her as well. Maham maybe is going to be the next MCA uko mahali. I work with Mudhoni, if you guys don't know her. She's that pretty lady up there. She is very, very, very strong when it comes to marketing, when it comes to advertising, when it comes to everything. She handles all the branding. There is Vanessa right there. She works with UNODC, United Nations of Drugs and Crime. But she also volunteers with Kenya ni mimi. There's Natalie, who's just there seated. She's my childhood friend. She also knows me from when I was 6. Me and her used to fight. Woo! Once we fought for a boy that when we look at the boy right now, gosh, we're like, were you high? He is, but we love him. He's still our good friend. But, but she's a creative designer. She's an interior designer, but imagine she studied accounting and HR. You know? But she's also one. This is my team. There is Marie Clara. That one, just stand up. She's the one. If anyone is to bribe her to kill me, she's the fastest to kill me. On a lighter note. But she takes care of me. She knows everything about me, including the person I'm dating. You know? But she is a diplomat. She is a diplomat, but also she knows how to get things done. Look at her like that. Lakini kuna siku alijaribu kuchapa mtu Isiolo because someone was trying to jump on me. So she can fight. You know? Sit down. So these are the people I've mentioned. And I have already mentioned Honorable Mayaka. She's my mentor. And let me tell you, she's actually in the presidential campaign of the Azimio la Umoja. La Baba. I got it right. Took on a handshake, so you know we can say. But she is a very, very important woman when it comes to the political space. But even when it comes to mentorship, she mentors people with an open heart. So you see how I have identified everyone? Because you have to surround yourself with people who have dreams, who have goals, and who have ambitions. This idea of women sitting down and chu-chu-chu-chu, please. We can gossip. There's sometimes you need to gossip. But not all the time. If you surround yourself with people who have visions, you will elevate even more. And none of them feels bad about where I am. In fact, everyone's like, you know, we want you to get high so we can get high. And I have days where I am just intolerable. But they put up with me because they have no choice, number one. But also number two, because we all, you know, it's life. So the lesson I'm just trying to leave you guys with is life every day is a chance to learn and experience something. Even today when you leave this place, there's something you're learning. Make sure you get someone's, yeah. See, I forgot to mention someone very important. I forgot to mention Hanifa. Huh? She's a lawyer. Sasa sijui lawyer gani. Bwana nyinyi lawyers mnani confuse. But she's a very, it's human rights. Ama umeingia kwa nini sasa? Litigation. Oh, she's mkwenda kwenye pesa. Okay, anyway. But before that, I met her. She was passionate about human rights. Hindu. I don't know what happened to her. Money happened. But she is a very, kwanza if you follow her on Twitter, she's not scared of just shutting you down. You know? And then we have Said here. He's standing right outside. But everything to do with fashion, everything to do with communication, everything to do with whatever you need in this country. You just ask him and he will tell you. And so, lazima mujigambe, by the way. We are in a time where you need to stop asking for permission and start doing whatever the hell you want to do. Because first of all, life is too short. People are dying left, right, and center. And it doesn't matter what age. You just die. When we are going to, you know. So you need to. And then number two, please work on yourselves, guys. Mental health is something very serious. You need to work on yourself. If you don't work on yourself and you have these dreams and ambitions, you might just end up failing because you don't have a clear mental space. And so mine was just to welcome you guys here, share with you some parts of my book. I hope you will read it. And just allow you to see me, because some of you have seen me online or through my work and thought like I'm just this serious and oh my God, always working type of person. I love my job, I do. But I'm also human. I have days I cry, especially when I miss my late mom. I have days when my heart gets broken. I have days where I wish I could just solve all the problems in my life. But then I have days where I'm like, you know what? I'm the shit. Like, hell, man. I've done so much. Thanks. I was about to say clap for me, but you guys did. Thanks. And one thing, and I think all of you have noticed about the book, is I've struggled with identity and being accepted. And I know most of you or some of you are also struggling with that, and it's okay. It's part of life. Just that, make something else in your life a priority more than that, because Kenya and even the whole African continent, I was just in Ghana the other day, and I was on TV doing TV tours and everything, and I was speaking, and I saw how they were so into like, wow, we don't need permission. We have to be who we are. And they're fascinated about Kenya. Let me tell you, people outside of Kenya love our country so much. I love my country too. Forget it. Mi naipenda nchi yangu. Because trust me, nowhere in this place will you get internet as fast as Kenya. Connectivity in Kenya is the best. All these opportunities, as much as some of you still say they're not there, these opportunities also no other African country has. When we talk about the tech world, and you also know, a lot of people are moving to Kenya, to Nairobi, because of tech. More specifically, fintech, STEM subjects, all these things right now. Kenya is on a hot cake. I met 10 Ghanaians who want to move to Kenya. I have Nigerian friends who want to move here, Namibian, South Africa, you name it. So, do what works for you. Do it to your very best. And please, don't apologize or ask permission. But my last thing is, guys, let's have a peaceful elections. Let's have a peaceful one. Because if we mess up our country, it's not even our leaders we're talking about us. We won't have any place to stay. So if you differ with someone else based on your political opinions, keep it to yourself. And if you see your friends, young people who are trying to incite fights, please speak to them. Because we need to live in a peaceful and cohesive country. Ama namna gani? Sio? Sawa. So, I don't know, for me, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for coming. There'll be some chakula pocho pocho and whatever you guys can have. And I don't know whether anyone has a question. There's like space for like 10 minutes of questions before the food can come. Yes. So I need someone to help me, Maham, to take this. And hey, you can ask me anything. It's a free session now. But you can clap for me for using my voice. Maybe you can stand up so that people can see. It's hot.
I'm Teresia Karimi.
So that everyone can see you.
I'm Teresia Karimi, debate president, university. My first question is like, how many times did you cry until you reached that moment while you're explaining this thing, you're talking about your life, you feel like it's okay? Because I've gone through so much. I'm glad that I got an opportunity to be here and also go through your book, because it really reflects so much of my life, especially high school. I was so depressed, so depressed, to a point like I felt like I should just give out. But I got a friend. I spoke out about mental health because I felt like I was being drained. Depression, it's I call it a monster. It is something that drains you. It is something that you can't fight it alone unless you speak about it. And a lot of things happened to me. And actually, when I joined campus, it's when like I could just explain to someone and not cry and just laugh. Because I was looking at you while colleagues were reading that book. There's a point I felt so touched, but I saw you smile. I was like, I almost cried with it, but I saw you smile. I was like, how many times did you feel like it's really hurting until that point you're like, no, it's fine. It's enough of cry. Let me just do this.
Girl, I cry until today. I don't think I've gotten to a point where I've said, where I've said enough is enough. I think I was just tired of crying alone and feeling sorry for myself and also hearing other people's stories. I was like, in this life, in this world, in history, there's always someone or people who break some certain chains in the world so that other people can feel okay. And I just looked at myself like that. And I said, I know my tears are not going to stop. The reason why I smile is because I look at it now and I'm like, damn, man, that was a lot. And I survived. But I have days when I still cry. And those days, let me tell you, and this is a secret I usually tell my friends. If you follow me, I don't know, you follow me on Instagram? Do you see that there are some days I'm super hyper, I'm cooking, I'm making jokes? Those are the days that I'm the most saddest. I use cooking and doing reels, making jokes, as a way to just reignite back the light to me. Because one thing my therapist taught me was that sadness and trauma and experiences will never go. You'll just learn how to live with them. And then when you learn how to live with them, you have to also convince them that as much as it's bad, I'm okay. So each time someone reads my book, or I read my book out loud, I smile because I'm like, damn, if I had let that stop me, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So crying is actually not weakness. Crying is a strength that not everyone in this world can do. So everything that you've gone through, in fact, I wish you had cried, because I was expecting people to cry, be like, oh my God. I was expecting people to cry because it's life, And so I would tell you that I would be lying if I told you, yeah, there's a day I just woke up and said no. But this book was written as a journal entry, actually. I wrote this for 3 to 4 years. And each chapter was just a journal on my laptop. Every day when I felt bad, I would key in something. Then I was like, why don't I compile it and then design it in a way that, because if you read it, it's like as if it's a big sister talking to someone else. And I wanted to do that so that it had an impact on people. So it's just a reminder. So every day when you see yourself cry, don't wait for the moment that you'll say, I'm done crying. No, girl. In fact, if you want to cry for a whole week, cry. It's okay. Because after that, you see the way I'm glowing? I've been crying for 1 week. Literally. Because let me tell you, I was in such a bad place the beginning of this year. Sometimes you meet people and they convince you that you're not good enough. And I let that get to me for a whole month. And that's why I decided to do this, because I wanted to share more and be able to help. And I was crying continuously. In fact, even if someone told me they loved me, I would cry so much because I felt like, oh my God, I don't deserve this. So I've never had the moment. But if you read my book, there's a moment I call the aha moment. That's when, after I was done writing it, I realized, you know what? I needed to let it out so that I can be the person I am today. But crying is actually my secret weapon. I'm a crybaby.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Clap for her. Anyone else who has a question? Oh, back there. You have to come in front so that everyone can see you. Wait, if you have a question, just come here, Kabisa, so that... Guys, don't you think this is so pretty? It was designed by Natalie. So if you guys need, she also sells candles. Iko mtu ana business, niambie tu nita shout out hapa sahi.
Hi. So hello, Sheila Kamau, and I have a question. So you've talked about Kenya ni Mimi, and personally I would like to volunteer in the NGO. Yeah. So how are we going to go about it? Are we going to register or how?
Thank you. So Kenya ni Mimi, actually, it's not even an NGO. It's a campaign that I started. And the reason I started it was when I got appointed, I got to a point where I didn't know how to merge between my advocacy days and my government responsibility. So I decided to design a machinery that would be able to balance both of them. Now, the team lead of Kenya ni Mimi is Mudhoni. So you just speak to her. In fact, this year we have 5 pillars, but this year we're focusing on 2 pillars because of elections, which is values, peace, cohesion, and everything. And I don't know which other. It's just that, It's just that we're just focusing on that. And she's in charge of the social media for Kenya ni Mimi. But just speak to Mudhoni and then we'll see. Just so you know, not by its volunteering basis. Sawa. Thank you. Yes. Please don't ask me that question that you asked me. Okay.
So my name is. Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my name
No,
is.
no, you're not.
I'm not.
Weka kidogo close to your mouth.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my name is Shuaib Mohammed. I am also from University of Nairobi. I am the executive chairman of the Muslim Student Association at that university. So like you spoke about people flirting with you when you're in boardrooms, calling you Mrambo or such stuff.
Yes.
So maybe I wanted to know, does such thing happen in your cabinet meetings when you're with the president, and you mentioned, such moods that arise in the workplace.
Yeah.
Is he aware of such a culture
Yeah.
that's around?
Yeah. So it's not a culture. I think it's just, anyone. I mean, it started since he mentioned my name when he appointed me. And everyone was so fascinated about me. So which I think it's normal. It's so normal because it's very rare to find young people who are in such government official places. Now, if there is one place I would tell you that is full of respect and utmost yani respect that is there, it's my boss, which is the cabinet secretary, and His Excellency the President, and everyone else in the cabinet. I've never been, no passes has ever been thrown at me. No one has ever said anything. These are the boardrooms I'm talking about. These are the ones that unajua, saa nyingine uko na mabeshte. There's some youngies who are CEOs and stuff. This happens. And it's not something that I would say I would take up and go and report. It's just a personal thing. As much as it's nice being called Mrembo, I just feel at certain setup, you rather call me Mrembo at Lava Latte coffee shop rather than calling me Mrembo when you're discussing about a policy. But so far, other than that, no sexual passes have been ever done at me or anything else. In fact, I'm called the baby of the cabinet. I'm treated like such a baby. So yeah. Thank you. Haya Hindu. Poa.
Okay, Waafrika lazima tujaribu. Anyway, mine is not a question. It's about your first initiative. I don't know if you really remember it. The Be Your Own Vibe initiative.
Yes, I do.
But kindly bring it back. It's just that.
I
Bring
will
it back.
definitely.
Yeah, because it has really helped me. I used to be very close to you when you had those lives, and we used, I could say you were my Instagram friend for a very long time. And it really did help me, and I know it helped a lot of people. If you could, bring it back. Yeah.
I will. It was
Thank
actually
you.
making money for me as well. So
I'll
bring it back. So for those who don't know, bring it back. Be Your Own Vibe it's just a statement I started to make people feel good about themselves when it comes to mental health. I was just like, you know what, at the end of the day, whether they love you, they hate you, just be your own vibe. Love what you love, be who you want to be, and just be yourself. But usijali, wacha tu sasa hivi nitaregesha vitu vingi.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Are you all having a good time? Really proud of Nadia. We've been friends for a while, and she's really come a long way. And I'm really fascinated for the first time, she's doing something, and there's so many guys who've turned out for this thing, which is a big thing. I know with men, we go through a lot, and we don't speak about it, but it's okay not to be okay, guys.
True.
It's so okay. I've also been a victim of sexual abuse, and I'm not ashamed to speak about it. Because one thing is, I had to say to myself, for how long will I feel bad for myself? For how long will I stop myself? Or for how long would I need to be validated by other people for me to achieve things? You don't need any validation from anybody. The only person that you need validation is yourself. And you should not let the trauma or the monsters that you have behind closet stop you from achieving things that there's a whole possible world of achieving so much. So to my fellow men, do not be ashamed to speak up about mental health. We should all be able to speak about it. Nadia, congratulations on your book, and all the best ahead.
Thank you, Said.
So, Jambo.
Hatujambo.
I hope everyone can understand Kiswahili here, right? Okay, I prefer speaking in
Hakuna
Kiswahili.
neno wa Kenya sisi.
Sawa sawa. So, jina langu ni Muzne. Okay, maybe most people know me as Captain Alien from TikTok. And I'm standing here actually fasting. I want to congratulate you and also say thank you very much. I have learned a lot personally because I guess you saw my last post today. I was actually quitting TikTok because of the bullies and everything. But after this session, actually, I have gained some courage. And yeah, I want to say thank you. So I was requesting if you can have more programs to our place. I'm from Lamu actually, and Lamu took on a lot of cultures, and you see culture, like, has it make sense? And they are easy to judge, unatukana rahisi, and so on and so forth. I actually, today in the morning, I cried a lot because I was feeling sad because TikTok is something that I love doing. And I grew so fast. I started last year, November, and right now I have a step charger. Anyway, like, just now I grew, and I felt so bad that I'm leaving something that I'm trying to work on because of people. So thank you very much, and I hope you take an initiative. Kuja kufundisha watu wetu kule Lamu, manake we need help.
Asante. And don't quit, please. Let me tell you, there was once, I don't know what happened. I think I was still in Malaysia doing my bachelor's, and I used to have a blog, and I loved, at some point I wanted to do fashion PR. And I used to post pictures of how I dress and write about it or go to events. Somebody somewhere decided to take all that, send it to my father and say, your daughter is looking for a husband online. So my father then told me, you have two options. You either shut down the blog or I stop educating you. And somehow, because of my hard-headedness, which I'm not advising anyone to do, but I pretended I closed it. But I didn't close it, but I continued. But in a very silent way. So one thing I'll tell you, even prophets were never accepted where they come from. Up until today, let me tell you, I'll have a lot of successful events in Nairobi, Eldoret, Embu, Kisumu, Nyamira. But if I go to Mombasa, people will always have something to say about me. Nadia yojifanya. So, don't quit. Keep going on. As long as it works for you, keep doing it. But you need to know how to shut people's voices. Those are noise. Na kwenu nishakuja mara tatu. So, tutaona. Vipi tutakuja tena. Sawa.
Well, my name is called Tifina Ogweno. Others call me Miss Independent. I don't know why. But
okay. Miss Independent, but sometimes being independent is tiring.
Yeah,
you need someone to take care of you.
You know, it all came up with when I was in high school, you know, such dramas. But my question for you is, how many times have you given up? How many times have you feel to give up, you know? Because apart from the book of Blossoms of the Savannah, written by the late Olekulet, which I did not manage to meet, but I'm glad to meet you for writing this book because it speaks mostly about my life. And I'm so glad. And I want to congratulate you for that.
Thank you so much, Miss Independent.
Thank you.
Advising you to get someone to also take care of you.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
Sometimes I do. Anyway, gosh. How many times have I given up? Okay, how many times have I wanted to give up? A lot of times. Because to be honest, I've never given up. With everything that I have gone through and everything that I've written in the book and everything that I've not said, I've always thought of myself to be this person who will go through the storm, but will still stick around because I needed to either make a point to myself, to the people around me, but also to someone else like you who needed inspiration. But I have something that is really a weapon, and that is having a small circle of people. You need to have, what's the word? A support system. The support system will help you not give up in life. You know, you see, like the three of us, my two Tanzanian friends, we have a WhatsApp group since university. And I can tell you the only person who's always been in that group and never stepped out is the lady in yellow. me and Lubna, we would, all of us fight, and each of us would step out and say, we don't want this group again, and we leave. But what happens? She then brings us back and says, focus on your issues, work on them. There's no giving up on your friendship, and there's no giving up on your work. So you always have to have people who always bring you back. Because in this life, no man is an island. So always remember that. So for me, I have wanted to give up, but I've always said, hell no, man, I'm where I am. So same to you. If you ever feel like that, remind yourself of where you started. And if you have someone, always, always, always go back to them and talk to them.
Okay, my second question. Like,
yes.
What is the main reason you wrote this book? Like, what drove you?
I think the main reason I wrote this book is to really redefine the African woman's image. Whether you come from Kenya, whether you come from Namibia, I just wanted people to understand that as young women, we can go through stuff and we still come back. So it was just redefining. And also redefining the image of some people who come from marginalized communities in Kenya. Because I realize a lot of people from marginalized communities in Kenya don't have a voice. So I might not have achieved 100, but at least that 1% will encourage and empower others to do it.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Hello, Nadia.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maureen Lomborgo. I'm a recent broadcast journalist from Multimedia University. And aside from that, I'm a small entrepreneur. I sell decorations. It's called Modecos in Instagram. So
follow Modecos, guys.
So I have like the biggest question because, you know, having graduated in December and right now I'm figuring life. You said the secret to success is having a niche. So I write, and most of my writing, I write online. So what I do, I just wake up and I do it from my room, you see. And aside from that, I run my business, which is still growing, and I believe it's going to be big one day. But you see, aside from that, the fact that I don't wake up and go to work, and my mom knows, like, I got a first class, I'm supposed to be working in, like, Citizen or BBC, you know, such things. So I'm wondering, like, when is the time to, you know, I'm still figuring out what I want to do in life. I have a blog, I love writing, but my parents see me in, like, a media house. Right now, they want to see me waking up and going to work. And right now, it's not that I'm doing so bad for myself, but those expectations from people versus what I really want to creating, like, my most, like, the happiest version of myself by maybe 25. So I was wondering how you managed after university. How did you go back to the drawing board and decided this is what I want to do? And I believe, like, if it's mental health, as you did, this is what is going to, that's my question.
You said you graduated when?
In December.
2020? And your parents want you to get a job right now?
Yeah, you see.
I mean, the vision, I get it. Because every parent who, of course, invests in their child always wants to see the fruit of what they have, you know, invested in. And so I'll tell you something. I think I finished uni in 2015. 2015. In around May, June, I came back home. But for me, I wanted to finish up my master's before I started working because I knew for a fact that nikianza kushika pesa, mimi, I'm not going to go back to school. So what I did again, and then I applied for my master's, and I went to study for my master's. So then I came back but before even coming back, whenever I used to come to Kenya for holiday, so for me, alhamdulillah, I was privileged enough. My stepdad educated me very heavily. But every time I came back home, because of my niche and my interest, I used to either have small meetups or do small events. And how did I get the money? I would either reach out to people, sponsors, not just at that time before I'm, in government. You reach out to some politicians around. They will give you some money. They'll want to support because for them it's PR, but for me it was more of doing something. And so I used to do those small events. if I wanted money again, I used to sell tickets, and I used to do that. My passion was also writing. Actually, my friend Raisa, she proposed me to one of her friends in Oxfam, and I got like a copywriting job for 1 month, and I did it. Then I remember I used to also apply on LinkedIn, and I got another short term. Like, what I'm trying to tell you is, you just have to be proactive. You like writing, perfect your writing skills. But you also have to look what writing sells. What pieces of article. Maybe you like feature writing, but maybe investigative writing, maybe it sells. So do that. But other than that, you can even speak to them and they can advise you. They're writers. I'm just giving you like a brief. You just have kujituma. When you hear of workshops, go to these workshops. Make business cards. I used to make business cards for myself. I didn't have a company or anything. I used to make business cards for myself. I go to events and I pitch and I say, I'm this, I'm that, I do this. Nata sa nyingine, nilisema paka life coach, nata sina certificate ya life coach. But you know, whatever whatever rocks your boat. I taught them public speaking, and I didn't have a certificate for public speaking, but I just loved speaking. So, you know, you love speaking, create a career to go to people's houses and actually train housewives, rich housewives, how to be confident. Oh my God. Na nilikuwa nikilipwa 50K. Yes. Na taxi inalipwa. So you can imagine, you just have to be innovative. Innovation is so important to newly graduates, because I will tell you for a fact, if you have graduated, unless you're very lucky, chances of you being employed are like very, very low. So you have to create a niche for yourself. And then the other thing these days, I advise young people, build your brand. Let people identify you for something. If you're a writer, then create that blog, design that blog, teach yourself. Wix has the best platform. Right now I have a website. It's called SwahiliGirlLeads.com. I put everything from my mentoring work to my YouTube. And imagine I have a government job, but I still do that on the side. Why? Because again, you always have to have a plan B, C, D, E, F, G. You get? So yourself as well, do that. Create a title for yourself. You can call yourself the modern day writer, or you can call yourself, I don't know, or teach yourself mambo ya fintech. Right now, fintech is on the rise, and it's really, really trickling down to Kenya. Or mambo ya cryptocurrency. Then perfect your art. How can I talk or report about cryptocurrency? Then sell that online. Sell it to BBC. Sell it, whoever you get. What you just have to do is to be proactive. Your parents will always talk, Milikuwa nikiambiwa, why we've taken you to Malaysia and Germany and you're here on a laptop, ama you're going to a co-working space. Why? It's just parents will always complain. But if you have a goal, plan it all out, and just be proactive. But again, their writers also speak to them. Sawa sawa,
Yeah,
you're
thank
welcome. You can clap for me.
Hi, Nadia.
I think my next job will be consultancy, but okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Primoline, and you've just talked about how you were dealing with people making you feel bad about yourself
Yes.
for 1 month.
Yeah.
So how did you deal with that? How are you able to come out of that phase?
I fell in love. No, for real. That came out so bad. That was not supposed to come out. But anyway, let me explain. I fell in love with somebody who was speaking positively to me. Somebody who reminded me of why I am the shit, why it is important to separate personal issues from professional issues. You see, a lot of times, and I talk about this, no man is an island. Sometimes you need people to love you in order for you to reignite that confidence and that love to yourself. Now, that love can come from your family, that love can come from your friends, that love can come from a partner, that love can even come from music. But you always have to have something that brings you back. Because sometimes we are deep inside certain holes that we cannot pull ourselves back. We need somebody else to pull us back. So for me, it's my friends, it's my partner, it's not my partner, but, you know, my boyfriend, and everything, you know, it's that. And the reason why I'm saying it out loud, brother, it's not that, the reason why I keep mentioning this is because I also understand we're in a generation where as much as we are praising and saying, oh, I'm happy to be single, people who are not happy to be single and want somebody are shamed. So I'm trying to normalize a conversation where it's not bad to say that you wish you had someone who would either invest in you or someone who would build you. So it's the same thing. If I didn't have my friends to remind me that I needed to get out of that rut, I would be where I am today. So my advice to you is don't always try to pull yourself out of dark moments. Have people to do that for you. Sawa, thank you. Hiya, guys. I think I have answered a lot of questions. Or last Hi, this is the last question.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi, Nadia.
Hi.
My name is Zambonaya. I'm a student leader at my campus, Cooperative University. So I have a question for you. Most of us come from the marginalized community where it's really, really hard for a girl, to be precise, to thrive, where there's that complete stereotype, ile some character traits belong to men and only men. You get, like if a word bold is said, these guys just know that this is a complete guy. It can't be a chile.
Yeah.
So how have you dealt with the complete stereotype? Yeah, how have you dealt with it? Have you?
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I have not dealt with it because I don't care about it. I completely ignore it. Because I realized I attempted to deal with it at first, and I realized it convinced me otherwise. So what I tried to do is I tried to build a very strong exterior that was really focused on my goal, and anything that would be said by my community, which is said up until today, I ignore it. Because at the end of the day, they are words. If I heed to them, they would bring me down. So what do? I choose just to ignore them and work on myself. Have a tunnel vision in life. Our communities, they will never change. They will also never accept us women who are out there, outspoken and everything. But what we can try to do is build ourselves and then prove them wrong. That's the only way. But convincing them to accept us will even grow gray hair. So learn to refuse to deal with certain issues because it's not worth your time. What's worth your time is building yourself and working on it. And if that community doesn't accept you then please find a home outside, but always respect it.
All right, thank you, Shukran. I have read a book, Shonda Rhimes.
Yes.
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 I just read parts of your book and I'm like, she's the Shonda Rhimes of our times. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Hiya, guys. Well, I'll be somewhere. If anyone wants to say, hey, talk to me, you can talk to me. But for now, guys, just enjoy some few bitings that I had. Unajua bado tunamalizia January tu, tuko February sasa. Ni mwezi wa mapenzi. Mupendane. For those who would wish to send me flowers or roses, you can talk to Marie. She'll tell you where I'm found. Na munaweza nitumia. But to everyone else, happy Valentine's in advance. And I wish you all the best. And nawapenda sana. And again, thank you so much for coming. And may God bless you.
Life iko order, mpaka ukweli na sound unachocha. Vile naifanya